The man was chatting with his colleague while driving, and in the next second, when Ethan regained consciousness, he found himself deep in a forest. His wallet and phone were gone, and his colleague, who had been driving, had disappeared without a trace. The pain in his head forced him to stop and process nothing clearly. Staggering out of the woods, he arrived at a strange small town. The people on the street cast him odd looks. Ethan forced himself into a diner and asked the receptionist where he was.
Wayward Pines, Idaho.
At that moment, he could no longer hold on and collapsed to the ground, losing consciousness again. When he woke up, he was already in a hospital. The nurse told him he had multiple fractures and a concussion, clearly from a serious car accident, but he would recover after a few days of rest. At that point, Ethan's memory slowly returned. He recalled the purpose of the trip with his colleague. They were here to investigate 2 missing agents. But before the investigation even began, the crash happened. Ethan asked the nurse if she had seen his colleague, but she regretfully said he did not survive. This made Ethan deeply sad. He tried to call his wife to inform her of his condition, but the nurse said there were no communication devices in the hospital, as the ringing would disturb the patients. She told him to rest and then left the room. But as a trained operative, Ethan did not believe her explanation. He put on his clothes and prepared to leave, noticing that such a large hospital had only one patient, himself. Just as he pressed the elevator button, the nurse suddenly appeared behind him and tried to stop him. Ethan ignored her and walked into the elevator. She warned him again not to leave, but seeing his determination, she eventually let him go. He then entered a bar and asked the bartender, Amy, for a phone to call his wife. The call did not connect and went to voicemail instead. He left a message explaining his situation. After that, he asked Amy about the 2 missing agents, but she said she had never heard of them. Just as Ethan was about to leave, Amy handed him a piece of paper. She told him it was his address. Since he had no phone and no money, he could come to her if he needed help. But as Ethan was about to put the note away, he noticed something strange written on the back. He didn't think much of it and left the bar. Not long after, he heard the sound of crickets coming from nearby bushes. Curious, he reached inside and pulled out a small speaker playing recorded cricket sounds. The strange scene confused him, but he assumed it was just part of the town's quirks and didn't pay much attention. Later, he found a motel and fell asleep immediately. The next morning, he was awakened by a series of urgent knocks on the door. The motel owner had come to collect payment. With no money at all, he was kicked out onto the street. With no other choice, he took out the address Amy had given him, but when he arrived, he discovered the place was an abandoned, decaying house that clearly had not been lived in for a long time. He called out for Amy, but received no response. It seemed he had been deceived. However, when he pushed open the bedroom door, he was instantly stunned.